Now, market moves in August raised more questions than any answers just before the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Trading in August reflected U.S. President Trump and his core singing the administration's rhetoric. But too much is resting on U.S. courts even as the latest ruling on Trump, tariffs being illegal on Friday, came post-market close, leading into the long holiday weekend. The direction for U.S. tariffs is up, not down, because the pressure on the White House from financial markets has diminished since April. But the volatility and the moves is in the dying session of the month showed September will see a legal challenge to tariffs. The big wild card would be if the Supreme Court strikes down Trump's country-specific tariffs. Now, there would be chaos in global markets, no doubt. But there are plenty of other powers at the president's disposal to impose tariffs through other means. While Trump extended the truce with China, he upped his tariffs on India for buying Russian oil. But those tariffs have brought India and China closer. Analysts now say it is no longer China plus one, but China plus India. The SCO summit is being called an important step in that very direction. In August, gold made a remarkable comeback, even as Wall Street's momentum train hit full speed into September. The yellow metal rose to near record highs, soaring 5% during the month. Crude oil and Bitcoin took the biggest hit in August. Benchmark Brent oil fell nearly 6% on worries about crude flows. However, the other side of the argument was reflected in the dollar's decline in August. Now, Trump claims millions of dollars in revenue from tariffs. But the U.S. currency took a beating, reflecting investors' bet on who is actually winning. Now, investor caution is also driven by fresh political pressure on the Federal Reserve. Moving on to the Asia-Pacific stock markets, China's main stocks index led the gains in the region with 8% gains. The U.S.-China trade truce kept investors betting on Chinese stocks. Japanese stocks were not left behind. Japan's Nikkei closed out the month with 4% gains, and the OC index rose 2.6%. But the only exception and the most telling move is reflected in Indian stocks taking a beating from Trump's 50% tariffs. The Indian benchmark closed out August with 1.7% losses. In the Americas, Wall Street stocks hit fresh record highs during the month. The S&P 500 notched a fourth straight monthly gain. However, a tech rout weighed on sentiment before the September challenge for stocks. September has usually been a bad month for global stocks. Last week's wobble offered insights into what to expect in September. But Brazilian and Canadian stocks showed grand gains to show a different mood for these countries. Across the Atlantic, European stocks reflected the reality. The nuanced moves in benchmarks across the region showed mixed sentiment. While the UK's FTSE gained, the French CAC and German DAX ended in the red. The South African stock index was a standout with 3.4% gains. Well, what happens in the Russia-Ukraine peace talks is likely to drive European stocks in the month ahead, rather than Trump's drama on social media. When the carpet hub of India's Bhadohi, silence has replaced the steady clatter of looms. The United States, which buys nearly 60% of India's handmade carpets, has raised import duties to 50%. Now, the move has triggered mass cancellations, with 85% of orders reportedly scrapped or put on hold. Exports worth 9,600 crore rupees are at immediate risk, threatening the very heart of a 16,000 crore rupee industry. The Badaui-Mirzapur belt sustains nearly 2 million people, 800,000 directly in weaving, and 1.2 million in allied activities like dyeing and transport. For many families, weaving is a centuries-old tradition and their sole source of income. With shipments stalled, production has fallen sharply and half the workforce has already returned to their villages. Industry leaders warn that the collapse will hit women especially hard, who make up about 25% of the workforce. Exporters say India risks losing its share permanently as competitors like Turkey, Pakistan, and China step in with lower tariffs. Badaui alone accounts for 60% of India's carpet exports, leaving it most exposed. Exporters have urged the centre and the Uttar Pradesh government for urgent relief. And this includes a 10% bailout package, restoration of export incentives, and support for credit. Well, without intervention, they warn a 500-year-old legacy of handmade carpets could unravel.